The silence of a deserted cave in the mountains was shared by two Livsabi and her younger sister, Beth. After their mother's passing, Beth was Abby's whole world. Their lives were following a normal rhythm until devastating news shattered their reality. Beth had deadly cancer. Beth did not lose hope, but Abby's world abruptly stopped. Desperate, she began searching for a cure and found one, but the cost was so astronomically high it made her heart sink. Abby didn't have the money, so she chose the most perilous path, working as a geologist on the cold border between Europe and Russia. Her objective was to search for uranium in the dangerous mountains. The work meant risking her life at every turn, but the massive salary compelled her to take the risk. Abby worked with extreme dedication and hardship. Yet after days of searching, the mountains yielded nothing. Refusing to give up, she told her colleague they needed to venture deeper into the dense, forbidden forests. Her colleague strongly warned her the area bordered the Russian frontier and was extremely dangerous. That night, a call came from her father. Beth's condition had worsened. Abby's mind fixated on one thing: the company hadn't given her an advance. To get the money, she had to find uranium. The next day, Abby decided to enter the forbidden forest alone. Her colleague's warning was clear: wild animals might be present, and he wouldn't go with her. Abby borrowed his rifle and began her solo journey. After walking for a long time, Abby suddenly heard a strange, sharp noise. She prepared for a wild animal attack, but looking down, she saw the sound was coming from a large, smooth black stone lying on the ground. Picking it up, she realized it was extremely valuable and unlike anything she had ever seen. Despite being a geologist, the stone's mystery captivated her. She secretly brought the stone back to her base, informing no one at the company. She hoped to sell it quickly to fund Beth's treatment. But then her father called again. Beth was in critical condition. Abby immediately decided to return home and told her colleague she might not ever come back. To leave the area quickly, she took a helicopter. Mid-flight, she saw an odd object outside the window, initially thinking it was a bird's feather. But as the helicopter crashed into it, she realized it was something else entirely. In the violent impact, Abby lost consciousness. When she regained consciousness, Abby saw one pilot was dead and the other seriously injured. She quickly tended to the wounded pilot and searched for a radio for help, but found none. The helicopter's communication system was also defunct. The responsibility to save both herself and the injured pilot now fell on her. Checking the map, she found the nearest road was about 60 kilometers away. Night fell in the harsh weather. Abby lit a fire, hoping someone would spot it, and tried to protect the injured pilot from the cold. But all her efforts were in vain. The pilot died before morning, and no one saw the fire. Realizing waiting here was pointless, Abby gathered supplies, food, her rifle, and a walkie-talkie and started moving. While charging the walkie-talkie's weak signal, she heard a voice. It was John. To her surprise, John's helicopter had also crashed nearby. He explained there was a lake in a forest nearby, but his condition was severe. His leg badly injured, and his communication system broken. Abby couldn't afford to wait for help at the road 60 kilometers away. She had to reach her sick sister as soon as possible. John and Abby talked along the way. When John heard Abby was looking for uranium, he was surprised. John asked, "So, you came to find uranium?" Abby was stunned, wondering how he knew that. That night, while making shelter, Abby looked at the black stone in her bag. Holding it, a shocking thing happened. The stone began to change its shape. Abby tried to twist it, and it transformed. She was amazed. What was this? No ordinary stone could change like that. Was it some kind of technology or an alien artifact? The next day, Abby began her trek alone through the snow. John kept trying to talk on the radio. Abby told him to stop. The battery would die, and they would lose contact. Ahead of her stood a seemingly impossible steep mountain. Abby told John she might not be able to cross it. John, seemingly supportive, said, "Go. I will remember your efforts." But then, when she tearfully mentioned Beth's declining health, John coldly remarked, "Not everyone can be saved." Abby erupted in anger. She didn't need advice, just encouragement. Abby started climbing the difficult mountain. When she couldn't find a foothold, she tried to use her knife, but it got stuck and broke. Then she remembered the black stone. She molded it into a sharp blade and used it to climb. The stone eased her struggle, allowing her to push herself up until she reached the summit. Reaching the top, she realized that descending would be even harder. The sheer cliff face meant a single slip would be fatal. She molded the stone onto a rope and began her careful descent. As she descended, John warned her, "Be careful. The Russian border is ahead. You'll be shot if you cross it." Despite the fear, Abby continued towards her path home. Suddenly, she slipped. The stone slipped and she tumbled down the slope, suffering a serious injury. She bandaged her leg and continued her journey with unyielding determination. Abby walked continuously. In the evening, she spotted a settlement in the distance. She moved toward it, hoping for help, only to be greeted by empty streets. Exhausted, she spent the night there. Hungry, she searched for food, but it was rotten. While bandaging her injured leg, she gave herself an injection to regain strength. A faint sound woke her in the morning. She saw a Russian soldier nearby. Fear gripped her heart. She hid quickly, but the soldier, suspicious, followed her into the building. Both had their rifles raised. Abby quickly shot him in the leg. It was a reflex, not intentional harm. As she grabbed the soldier's rifle, Abby noticed he also possessed the exact same black stone she had. Just then, a voice came through the soldier's walkie-talkie. It was John's voice. Abby realized the whole story was connected to this stone and John. She grabbed the walkie-talkie and demanded, "Who are you, and what do you want?" No answer came. Abby helped the injured soldier. She bandaged his wounds and told him, "If you need help, I will take you to the base." The soldier agreed, as he too was lost. They were both wounded, and though they were supposed to be enemies, there was no hostility. They knew they needed each other to survive this environment. They moved on, but the soldier's injuries worsened. John kept speaking strange, unsettling things to Abby over the radio, as if trying to scare her. Abby felt that John might be controlling her through the black stone. In fear, she threw the stone away. At that moment, the ice on the lake cracked beneath the soldier's feet, and he fell into the water. As Abby rushed back to help, the ice beneath her also broke, and she too fell into the freezing lake. The water was so cold it numbed her entire body. Still, she managed to pull herself out with difficulty. She cried out for help, but none came. She took off her wet clothes to try and stay warm. Then she heard John's voice again. In anger, she pulled out the radio's battery and threw it away, but the voice kept coming. Finally, exhausted, Abby fell asleep. In her sleep, she remembered the beautiful moments spent with her sister. A while later, the sound of a helicopter woke Abby. She was overjoyed and gathered her strength to stand. But she was too weak to signal them. The next moment, Abby found herself standing near a car. Her spirits shattered, and she collapsed, falling into the warm water pit shown at the beginning of the movie. The pit's warm water seemed to revive her. Inside the water, she saw a skeleton in a pilot's uniform with the name John written on it. Had John, the one she was talking to all along, been dead? Then, several glowing black stones floated up and clung to Abby's body. When she woke up, she was terrified, finding herself in a strange place surrounded by those black stones, all floating in the air. There, she heard John's voice again. John revealed he came there 65 years ago and had been trapped by these stones. Abby realized that the helicopter crash was not a normal incident. The stones had intentionally caused it. She understood these were aliens or beings unknown to humans, living on Earth for thousands of years. They needed humans to survive, but they did not abuse them. Abby couldn't believe it. She went further inside and was reunited with her sister, Beth, but this was only an illusion created by the beings. When she truly regained consciousness, she was standing outside her house's door. Opening it, she was met with a snowstorm. She walked into it, and the scene blurred. Suddenly, it was revealed that she had been rescued. Waking up, she was in a friend's apartment. She rushed to her sister, where she witnessed Beth's last breath. In the end, Abby was with her sister in her final moments. The beings had seemingly granted her last wish to be with her sister when she died. As John had told her, Abby had now accepted death and was ready for her sister's passing. Thanks for watching.